Put on a suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay?
Now you're more fluent.
Makina, he's got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. And hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier. Man, felt like our intro video cut just like a second and a half short for whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if it started right on time or anything. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see what
I was
like.
gonna jack with it this time today. And it just felt like I don't feel like the joking mood is like not there today, because if we're having trouble getting pumped up over a Rangers win, we know where we're at. But Rangers do win. Your 2023 world champion Texas Rangers do beat the Pittsburgh Pirates at home. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Jacob deGrom. And then we promised you we'd talk a little bit about if this team is not going to make the playoffs, what it would look like if maybe we decided to cut some of these one-year veterans loose and make a little room for some of these young guys on the 40-man roster, maybe some of these Rule 5 guys that might not be here next year anyway. Might get a pulse on those guys. We're going to play around with that, have a little fun. We're also going to preview the next 2 games against Pittsburgh, and who knows, Rangers could pull 4 in a row out. I think we've decided off air that we got to see like a 10-game heater before we can really get fired up about this thing at this point of the season. So we may jack around and talk about that. But before we get into it, don't forget to check out social media. Kevin Lee Frazier. For me, Frazier. You can also check out Texas Rangers with the Boys on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Oh, one word.
And joining me, as always, to tell you about our YouTube partners and his social media, and probably about Matt War Pro, the 300-pound manimal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? Where can they find you on the socials?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. You can find me Manimal Bull on Twitter, Instagram, Manimal300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. Also, if you want to find Texas Rangers with the Boys on YouTube, check us out. Go up to the search bar, just put in Texas Rangers with the Boys, and it'll pull up all of the episodes on the Sports Fluent network. So, yeah, check that out. Check out the social medias. Find me on there. Get with me. Whatever Ranger questions or just general talk about the Rangers you have, feel free. Hit me up on there. Also, real quick before we get started with the show, we got to tell everybody that Matt War Pro is back October 18th for their 2nd anniversary show. It's going to be a big time out at the Martin House Brewing Company. They got all the great beers out there at Martin House. There's going to be big wrestling matches all night long. Starry's Ice Cream will be out there with all the ice cream. They're going to have food on site. Not exactly sure who will be there just yet, but there will be food, there will be ice cream, and there will be all that beer from Martin House Brewing Company. So come on out Friday, October 20th or October 18th for Matt War Pro at the Martin House Brewing Company brewery. It's going to be a big time. 2nd
anniversary show. Let's party. Looks like I've got no response from the booking committee at Matt War Pro. So therefore, I probably won't be singing the Star Spangled Banner. But you guys,
I'm talent, bro. I don't know. I don't do anything.
You guys are missing out. You guys are missing out because I don't have the I just moved to Texas. I can't breathe. I'm hawking up everything inside of my lungs, allergies that I had last year around this time. So I've acclimated to the poisonous fumage here in the great nation of Texas. So, well, hey, look, I don't know if talking about standings, Rangers, where they're at, I think we're double digits right now.
At least 10. I can't remember. I don't know if it's 10 or
double
11.
digits. Still double digits right now. You know, the Astros, man. I mean, they're winning right now. Left for dead. Mariners aren't even in the third inning. They're out on the West Coast, which means like they're basically playing tomorrow. But you know, Astros are kind of, you know, we're left for dead. And you know, they've shown the heart that we knew they had. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised that they've came back with a vengeance. They've got them probably the most talented team in the division. So you expect that out of them. They made some adjustments off season, free agent wise. So no surprise there. More surprise was the way they started the season.
Yeah, which I mean, it's going to be like record breaking, like from where they started the season to come back and win this division and all of that. I mean, they were left for dead there in early May, and they've put it together. They're going to probably win the division. Like we said, the Rangers are going to have to do something out of this world to get back in it. But we've seen something out of this world by the Astros to get themselves to that point. Will we see something down the stretch from the Rangers with the same thing? I don't know. Can't be for sure on that, but they've won a couple of games in a row. They need to run with that, capitalize on that, and keep beating up on the Pirates. But, you know, the Pirates team's pretty good. They fought most of the night and stayed around. So, you know, I mean, it's not going to be an easy task even with the Pirates for the Rangers because they're, you know, I mean, they're struggling playing ball a little bit. They're not, you know, I mean, another win, sure, but, you know, there's a lot of things that could have, you know, a little pendulum swing, and they might not have won that game. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those things where all year long we've talked about in the losses how they could have won that game, and then in the wins how they could have very easily lost that game. So it's been a really wild ride for the Rangers this year, and it hasn't went exactly the way we would have preferred it most of the time.
Well, before we talk about this Pittsburgh series a little more in depth, let's talk a little bit about a couple of moves. Actually, one move. Gerson Garabito down. Grant Anderson, don't call me Aiden, comes up. And you think maybe they could just like swap them? You think they've swapped them at any point at all? You think maybe they've swapped ever? Like maybe Grant was like, I'm a little tired. Arms feeling a little beat up. Hey, Aiden, you can take my slot up here. We're gonna be playing a tough team, so you go ahead. I'll hang back here at AAA. You think we think they pulled the old switcheroo at any point this year?
Maybe that's more of a tag team wrestling thing, right? Like where
It is. That's totally where I'm getting it from.
Like maybe they distract everybody and then they switch.
Or maybe they just come back after the lock, you know, come back in the locker room, take their jerseys off, and then when nobody's looking, just swap, and then take their bag, and then they roll, and then
Well,
you don't know which Anderson is it.
I think the best thing for the Anderson brothers to do is wait until the referee gets bumped by a chair, and then just switch right there on the field in front of the whole crowd. That would be how you would really do it.
That's how we could sell some tickets.
That's how you book minor league baseball right there.
Oh man, that would be glorious. But most likely, it is Grant Anderson coming up. Could be Aiden though. We don't know. We'll never know. But
just another depth move, right? I mean, Garrett, 4 innings on Sunday. You need innings. You need bullpen innings, and
you think this is it for Anderson? You think maybe
I mean, he's going to have to be, I believe he has to be exposed to waivers if he's sent back down next time. So we will see. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 times that he's been down so far this year, but it feels like 130.
Yeah, he's been up and down a lot this year. And, you know, I mean, he kind of is what he is. I mean, I don't hate him. I just feel like it's kind of a sign of your team in many ways when this kind of guy is getting a lot of PT for you.
Well, yeah, that, and I think the fact that they're just out of arms. They're out of arms on their 40-man. They're out of arms getting outs for them. But they want to keep Garabito and Anderson around as long as they possibly can. I don't even know that Anderson gets picked up if he does get DFA'd.
No, I don't think he does.
But he's got like a 9.5 ERA, and I mean it's not real pretty.
No, it has not been a good second year for him because I mean he started out he had the 7 strikeouts in a row.
Something like that, yeah.
To start it out, and he was really, really good, and teams were having trouble picking up his delivery and all that. And then, it felt like early on he had really, really good command too. Like I felt like he was on the corners, and then it just started to seem like he started getting more over the plate. And I'm not sure, if maybe, how these scouts are, man, they got to pick some stuff up and kind of put him in a spot where he had to start throwing a little more down the middle.
Yeah, when the new wears off, right? Like once everybody's seen the funky delivery and it's still just a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a good slider. He's not a bad pitcher. He's just, he's on that border of being good and being bad. And, he hasn't really done anything to separate himself from the bad this year.
Well, and we would probably term this in simpler terms as average. He's a kind of an average guy. Anyway, we know we're short on content when we're talking about the Anderson brothers switching out at AAA to come up and pitch. Let's talk about something exciting though. Jacob deGrom has a rehab start on Thursday. A little bittersweet at this point, don't you think?
No, I think having him back in a Rangers uniform and pitching is going to make a big difference just in the psyche of the team going forward. Doesn't mean it's going to change anything this year. No, it doesn't mean that is going to change anything. But it also doesn't mean that the Rangers aren't in a spot where they're getting a guy back that they've been wanting to see throw for over a year now. And he's been, getting himself back in a spot to go back out on the mound, and we'll look forward to Thursday night, Friday morning, having something to talk about with Jacob deGrom. But Frisco, right?
I'm looking at the roster moves right now. I fell into a kind of a rabbit hole there. So set to rehab start this week. AA Frisco makes sense. They're at home. Keeps him from having to make too much of a road trip. Wouldn't shock me if they do send him somewhere before he comes back, just so he has to get on a plane and fly somewhere, throw a baseball, and then get back on the plane and fly back, just to see how that affects the body, because it does. I don't know what they're going to do. This is
fun. It's fun for the Rough Riders. They've got deGrom and Rocker going on back-to-back nights in Frisco, so hopefully they'll be able to get some people out to watch that.
Is that Thursday, Friday?
Thursday, Friday, yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! I feel like the baseball season. Part of the problem with the baseball season being so long is that I use all of my like get out of jail free cards at work to go to stuff, and then I get to this point in the season, and it's kind of like if it's not a World Series, it's hard to justify. It's hard to justify. But man, I would love to go watch those back to back. Go check out deGrom one night and Rocker the next night, and it would have cost you what, $20,
Yeah, you can pretty much sit behind home plate for like $26 or whatever, but you can get you a nice seat out on the berm in left or right field for like $7, something like that. You get you in the stadium,
I said, what an atmosphere, like having those that kind of heat. No pun intended. During the Texas summer.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest problem with Frisco right now is the idea that you have to go out there and sit in it, right? I mean,
yeah, they don't have an air conditioned stadium like the big squad does, man. Maybe they need to get Frisco out there to play some.
It gets hot out there, yeah, man.
Maybe Frisco, maybe they need to be playing some of these, switching out and playing some of these meaningful games. Playing some meaningful games to send the Rangers out to Frisco. Anyways, I digress. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing Jacob deGrom get out there and throw some baseballs. Apparently 99 was the standard for this guy. All right, well, let's we had a question yesterday, and a little pie in the sky, but I mean a little not. There's probably going to be way less happening than I'm hoping for. But I think it is a legitimate question about, as the Rangers continue down the season, if we don't see like a 10-game winning streak or like, winning 9 out of 10 and 3 times, like 8 out of 10,
Yeah.
like 8-2 and then 8-2 and then a 9-1. Like we don't see some of
Right.
that, it's a done deal. So, if as we move along in this direction, which is most likely the direction we're going, and just for the sake of a topic, who would you DFA and who would you bring up? There's a lot of guys that could get DFA'd right now because they're on 1-year contracts. Who would you DFA and who would you replace? Who would you replace them with? Is the question. I think you want to throw any out there. You just want one and
no, I'm gonna let you roll on. I've got a couple of guys in my head. If you don't mention them, then I'll talk about them.
All right. So I have a list of guys that I would DFA. Now, before anybody freaks out, I know that some of these are pie in the sky and most likely not going to happen. But if I'm, these guys are already paid, they're going to get paid one way or another. So you might as well get something for next year. And a lot of these guys, you could still bring them back even if you DFA them this year. So I would DFA Jankowski, Grossman, and Kelly, the catcher. Those would be the 3 guys. If we're out of contention, those would be the position players I would DFA. And then I would also, pitcher-wise, I would DFA Chafin, Yates, Robertson, Heaney, Eovaldi, and John Gray in no particular order, in no particular timeline. The guys that I'd like to see replace them, I'd like to see Foscue and Dustin Harris replace Jankowski and Grossman. And then I'd like to see Sam Huff get a crack at that catcher spot, second to Jonah Heim. Pitcher-wise, I'd like to see Owen White, Jack Leiter, Mark Church. Now, those are all guys that are on the 40-man. In fact, everybody I've brought up is on the 40-man. So there's really no 40-man move that you have to make by dropping these guys off. So those don't hurt you at all. Now, the next 3 guys, the reason, and actually it's really 2 because I had to omit one of them because of Huff. The other 2 guys I would bring up, one of them would be Emiliano Teodo. And the reason I say this is I feel like he's going to be on the roster next year anyway. He's going to end up on your 40-man. He's probably going to rank in our top prospects. And so I would like to see this guy get some low pressure innings before we go, because you saw how it affected some of these other guys just getting thrown out into the mix with because there's not going to be any higher pressure besides the playoffs than the beginning of the season when everybody's in first place. So if you get these guys, like a guy like Teodo, see how he looks against major leaguers, see what he does against some of these guys now, get him a little bit of his feet wet, and then you have a little bit more to know what you're getting next year, because I don't see him not going on the 40-man roster next year. Next guy would be Dane Acker, because he's going to be a Rule 5. So maybe he doesn't get picked up in the Rule 5 next year, which is all the more, again, one way or another, I feel like it would be nice to get a look at him again against major leaguers, because he could end up on the 40-man next year. If he doesn't go in the Rule 5 and you're not going to put him on the 40-man, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I would feel like he's a guy that I'd like to see pitch, and I have a feeling he will get picked up next year. The other one would be Ryan Garcia. If it gets to that, he would probably be the last guy of these that I would want to see. So those are kind of like my wish lists of guys. And again, I know it's kind of like almost sounds crazy to talk about Robertson but honestly, man, like, if this team's not going to be a contention, there's a point, I think, where they can't sign with other teams. I don't know if when that particular time is, but I would still also like to see some of these guys like Chafin, Yates, and Robertson, really all of them, all these pitchers, get a crack at jumping on with a team that's in contention as well. And it's a win-win for the Rangers. No, they don't get anybody in return, but they do get to throw these younger guys out there and get some major league time since they're on the 40-man roster. Last thing I'm going to say is the only reason I think they wouldn't is really just like the roster control time served, which kind of defeats
manipulation.
Because it's like, at what point do you really want? I mean, at some point these guys got to play, so you got to stop playing that.
And on top of that, at some point, some of these guys have to produce to be justified to throw out there, right? Man, because like we haven't seen anything from Ornelas or Foscue this season that makes you think that they're major league ready. Sam Huff hasn't been, up with the club, I don't think, all season. I doubt they DFA Carson Kelly. I would be shocked if that were the case, just based on the fact that they haven't gotten any production from Heim this season, and they still haven't. They've got one more year with a Huff before they have to make a decision on him. Sure, I'd love to see him get some at bats at the big league level, but at the same time, I don't know that Carson Kelly's the casualty that's going to happen to do it. I'm fine with Jankowski and Grossman. Go on. They weren't big parts of this team this year. They were big parts of last year's team that helped them win a World Series, and we got a little sentimental and ended up bringing both these guys back. They ended up doing Grossman the exact wrong way by sending a prospect over for him early in the season that probably a little bit better prospect than Robbie Grossman is worth. I have no problem there. Pitching-wise, they're not going to probably DFA most of those guys that you talked about just because of the fact that those guys are all playing for contracts next year. So regardless of whether the Rangers are happy with them or not, most of those guys, Robertson, Yates, Chafin, Gray, Eovaldi, all those guys are playing for contracts this year, so it's going to be tough to get them out of any kind of roster spot just because the Rangers owe it to them to give them a shot to make their money next year based on what the Rangers have done this year. So, I don't hate any of those that you talked about. I'd be fine with any of those guys going. It wouldn't hurt my feelings, but at the same time, it's still a business that has to be done right by the players as well, even though you're not in contention. And, not to say that they won't, and they could make some of these moves, but I would say, who knows? The Rangers are in this weird spot this year, right? We've seen a lot of stuff that we didn't think made a whole lot of sense. And,
Well, I have a question. So you brought up these guys playing for a contract. So, and I 100%, if that's the case, like if it's going to be better for if we're going to do right by these guys by keeping them around, I'm all for that. My thoughts were like, what do they have the chance to pick up with another team if they get designated for assignment? Are they done for the year?
I'm sure, I don't know how that works. I think you could put guys, it's weird because once they got rid of the August 30th waiver wire trade deadline, it's just been, I don't know exactly how it works.
I'll bring this up. Let me jump in on this again. Because remember Cleveland last year when they went and traded for a bunch of players, they were out of contention, and then they let them all go. They dumped them all before the season was over, and those guys ended up going and playing somewhere else.
Wasn't it? Yeah, Anaheim dumped Matt Moore, and there were a bunch of guys that were kind of waiver wire ready, and then I think Cleveland picked most of those guys up, right, to just kind of keep anybody from getting them, and then they didn't do much with them. Yeah, I think you're right. There's something that happened last year. So there's something to be said about it. They could absolutely, I don't know how far some of those guys would get on waivers. I don't know how far David Robertson and those guys would get, but I don't know that they're going to trade or DFA the guys that have been their best pitchers this year and both Yates and
you say Leclerc. Now that's another one.
That was a guy that actually I was going to talk about that might be a DFA guy down the stretch just because he hasn't really gotten outs. But then when you really look at the Rangers bullpen, he's probably been about the third or fourth best reliever back there. So it's not like he's been so bad that you can justify doing it, man. So But Robertson and Yates have been your best players all year long, so I don't know if you're going to DFA them or not. But it's weird. It's a crazy time for the Rangers because they got to make some decisions. But if you're not going to get anything back for them, I don't know if it's worth just DFAing them to watch other guys play at this point.
Yeah, I would if it didn't hurt those guys.
If Grant Anderson wasn't your first reliever out of the AAA, I would have more reason to believe that they should be, they should be looking towards the future. But really, if the Rangers are going to be good next year, they're going to have to go out and make moves to get themselves in a spot because, right now we're looking at a spot where they're 40 men's full. I don't think Mark Church is going to even pitch at AAA again this year, let alone the major leagues. So the 40 men is in a little bit of distress, but that'll all clear up as the season ends here in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I would just like to see some of these guys get some time on the major league roster, especially any of these guys that might get added to the 40-man roster next year. I'd love to see them get some garbage time this year because I think that would be a better way to get them acclimated to the big leagues. Well, that was a great segue. If we're going to talk about Teodo, and
look at you doing the segues for yourself these days.
Talking about Dane Acker, talking about Leiter, talking about Church, talking about Harris. I mean, these are all guys that are farm hands for the Texas Rangers. Most of these guys are pretty close to being off of the quote prospect list. But speaking of prospect lists, this weekend, which will air early next week, probably on Monday, we're going to do our top 10 prospects in the Texas Rangers organization. Not only that, we're going to talk about the 10 prospects that should have made or could have made or might have made or almost made, whatever you want to say, the list as well. So you're going to get by the end of this deal, we're going to have 50 prospects that we've covered over the last month on our exclusive content Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. I'm pumped up. We're kind of doing a little bit extra for this episode. Remember last year, it's kind of like turning into the World Series for this year, because last year when the Rangers won the World Series, we just hit record and just went. And I think there'll be a little bit of that on this episode. We got to plan. We already know what we're going to talk about. We're just going to hit record and we're going to go through these two lists, and we're going to have a good time with it. We're not going to set a time limit. We're just going to talk. We're going to give you everything we got as far as this minor league system goes. And then we will unveil our top 10. And really it's been a lot of fun. And Down on the Farm with the Boys in many ways has been the therapy for some of the struggles we've had at the big league level. And I would have to bet some of you guys it's been therapy, because we picked up more subscribers in the second half of the season than we have at all, like at any point since we've been doing it. So, hey, the future is bright for this Rangers organization. And, the Rangers are very, very young in the farm system. So don't fret over that ranking. A lot of those rankings have to do with guys that are ready to come up to the major leagues right now. And a lot of the guys in the Rangers organization, unproven. So we're going to talk about, we've talked about a ton of them. We're going to talk about a few more of them. We're going to talk about a man-child for sure in this top 10. That is that we've seen a couple of these guys firsthand at the prospects game at the Major League All-Star game this year. So going to be a lot of fun. Go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Oh, one word.
Or you can check it out on Spotify. It's just $1.99 a month. You make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization-wide. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an extravaganza. Go check it out. We're going to be excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. Don't be mad with the Texas Rangers with the Boys episode if it's 20 minutes, because the Down on Monday.
Yeah, because we did like an hour and 45 on the.
We've been on the phone. We've been on the video for 3 hours since 3:00 for doing Down on the Farm with the Boys. Probably not that long, but we're gonna have fun with it. We deserve it at this point. We've been through a lot this season, and I think we deserve a little bit of fun as well as so do you guys. So looking forward to it, buddy, to get to hang out and talk these top 10 minor league prospects on Sunday. So let's talk Rangers baseball, right? Are we ready to talk about this 4-3 victory? The Corey Seager.
God bless Corey Seager, right? No, I mean, big hit from Marcus Semien there in front of him there with Jonah Heim on to get him that 3-run blast. Man, overall, nothing really too great. I mean, the Seager home runs, and then other than that, it's pretty pedestrian for the rest of the team the rest of the night. So they had a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it was pretty much if Seager hadn't blasted off and owned Louis Ortiz those first couple of at-bats, and man, who knows what would have happened. But I think, again, Dane Dunning is, he's going out there and gutting it out for him right now whenever, he doesn't exactly know what his role is going to be from outing to outing. So, not that Dane Dunning was great or anything like that tonight, but him and Urena did enough to kind of keep him in a spot to win that game, and the back end of the bullpen was pretty solid.
Yeah, the Dunning-Urena combo was actually that was really good. I thought those guys were really good overall. I mean,
they ran into a little trouble there. Dunning did, and then it happens there. But overall, you're right. I thought it was pretty good.
You called it with Dunning. He's like Martin Perez. Like he's just great, except for like one inning, and then he just has an inning, and then
he'll leave a changeup up over the plate or something like that and just get pounded for an inning. Yeah, that was the same with Perez.
It doesn't even move. It just kind of, I
know. Yeah, no, I agree.
I'll never forget the one or I will hopefully forget at some point, the one he threw to Yordan Alvarez in that last series. I'm just like, oh my, like right when it left his hand, I was like, it just felt that fear feeling, I was like, oh no.
That was the difference in the game too,
as soon as he left his hand, dude, I was like, oh no. Because you have to have Paul Skeens kind of stuff to throw a ball right there with Alvarez and hope that he just misses it.
Yeah, and even Alvarez is probably punishing Skeens if it's right there. So, I mean, Alvarez is about as professional a hitter. I don't know how we got talking about him, but the Pirates, fortunately, not much better offensively. They had the one inning, what was that, the top of the fourth or top of the fifth, where they scored three. Yeah, but then once the Rangers got to that bullpen, the bullpen was good.
They got Paul Skeens got more airtime. Paul Skeens got more airtime than the game did tonight.
Well, rightfully so. He's more important.
I mean, they literally had the screen on him like half the game, just looking at his face. Just
look at that glorious mustache on that kid. Oh my God, I love it. This is like ESPN every time Paul Skeens.
Then he'd be like, that was like half the broadcast tonight. Hey, who are the two guys? I know we had Raymond calling it, and then was it tonight? Was it?
I was watching on MLB Game Day, so I have no idea who's on the call for the Rangers.
I think it's that pitcher guy that didn't ever.
Mike Bassick.
Yeah.
Is that it? The guy that his claim to fame is giving up bonds as 756.
Well, like whoever was with Raymond tonight, I'm like, dude, lay off. He was just hammering him. Like he was like actually dogging him out. I'm like, bro, chill out, man. Like
he was dogging out Skeens?
No, dogging out Raymond. He was just kind of like making fun of him about the way he talks about hot dogs. And it was just like, what is this broadcast?
Well, I think really you got to think Dave Raymond has to do something to occupy the time with all this bad baseball that he's had to watch this year. So I won't be mad at Dave Raymond about much of anything, because like we talked about the other day, and this might have been off air, I mean, he's been about the best that the Rangers have had since the Mark Holtz days. So yeah. I don't have any problem with Dave Raymond. I haven't liked Mike Bassick one time I've ever had to listen to him talk about anything, whether it be on 105.3 The Fan or the Rangers pregame and postgame. I mean, he makes things unwatchable for me. So I don't really care what he has to say about Dave Raymond because I like Dave Raymond. I think he's probably one of the best that the Rangers have had in a long time. And Mike Bassick is probably the worst that they've ever had doing games on the.
It's like carrying. It's like carrying the guy. Well,
the dude makes C.J. Nitkowski sound like Jack Buck, dude.
Well, let's talk real quick. So Rangers get about this the Semien Seager combo. I mean, this was we kind of got our money's worth at least tonight out of the two guys. 4 hits between them in 7 at bats, 4 runs batted in, 3 runs scored. Semien with the double, Seager with the two homers. Yeah, I mean, really, and again, like I'm okay with it. It just we'd have liked to seen a little more of it. This formula for the year. Interesting too, Dunning and Urena both throw just about 60 pitches. So it looks like they were both kind of like that. They kind of had a plan with these guys.
Yeah.
And I don't hate it. Honestly, I didn't mind them two together. When you get 8 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 Ks, 3 walks, not a bad 8 innings out of these guys. Well, you want to put the bow on this thing and call it?
I was going to let you do it today.
Oh, okay. Well, Jose Urena gets the win for the Rangers. LL, not Cool J. Don't call me Cool J Ortiz gets the L. LL, don't call me LL. Cool J Ortiz gets the L.
Corey Seager said knock you out.
Yeah, Corey Seager gives LL, don't call me LL Cool J the L. And then Kirby Yates comes back, gets back on track, and gets the save for the Rangers. Hey, let's get an attendance for the Rangers are at home, right? So the Rangers attendance at 28,229 people. Honestly, man,
pretty good for a Monday night.
Monday
pretty
night.
Good.
Yeah,
School
summer.
Day. No, I mean the kids are back in school.
Yeah,
so
cool. I mean, hats off to Rangers fans. Love that. 2:09 on the time. These guys are like,
oh yeah, in and out tonight. In and out.
Umps are like.
I stopped down to do something, and the next thing I know, Kirby Yates was pitching. So,
yeah, umps are like strike, out, strike. Oh, he went. Oh yeah, he went. Strike.
Fair enough. Let's get through this.
That was close. Strike. Yeah. Oh, that's an out. Yeah, close. No, not replayable. Anyways,
so two more with the Pirates here.
Yeah, we don't have a pitcher announced yet for the second game, at least that I've heard of. But tomorrow, what's that?
I wouldn't be shocked if they make a move today to bring a starting pitcher up.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
That's probably lighter. If I had to guess, he pitched Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe. He only threw 3 1/3, so there's a chance that he could be available.
So we got Mitch Keller tonight, who I really like. Mitch Keller,
pretty good.
6'3", 220, 395 earned run average on the season. A little bit of a downtick from last year. I think he was really, really good last year.
Well, he got that extension.
Well, no, I take it back. He's actually having a better earned run average year. Just the strikeouts are down a little bit. So that was what I was seeing. Anyways, Rangers got
a little bit better team too this year.
A little more competitive. Yeah. Cody Bradford going for the Rangers tomorrow. I'm actually pretty excited for him. He's been on a roll as of late.
Is that Wednesday? Is that Wednesday after?
This looks like August 20th. So this is tomorrow. So tomorrow we got Bradford and Keller. Bradford 4-0 with a 3.50 ERA going against Keller. And then on Wednesday, now we've got TBD versus TBD.
Man, anything is possible.
With the Rangers, for sure, anything is possible. And then they were saying maybe it's Skeens. I can't imagine they're going to just throw Skeens out there without him knowing he's going to start.
No, Skeens is on us. Well, you never know. Who knows? We'll see what
happens. Did you hear what they said? Did you hear what Bruce Bochy said about getting to see Skeens pitch?
Wow.
This is going to be the line of the show, probably the highlight of the show then. So they were asking him about it. They were like, it's possible that you guys might get to see Skeens on Wednesday because it's TBD. And they're like, are you excited about possibly the challenge of it? Blah, blah, blah. He goes, I saw him at the All-Star game. I'm good.
He's seen enough.
I saw him at the All-Star game. I was like, oh,
give
yeah.
me Martin Perez on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Let's feast, right? You know?
What a great quote by the great Bruce Bochy.
Seen enough of that.
Yeah.
No. So the Rangers got 2 more here. Let's see if they can salvage a homestand and at least a couple of wins here will make it a 4-3 homestand, and the Rangers, a couple of wins here will get us that much more excited about that 4-game win streak that they've got together on Thursday night or Thursday morning when we're back, right? That'll probably be I'll be traveling all day Wednesday and into Wednesday evening, so that may be a Kevin only show on Thursday morning.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're gonna refrain from getting too pumped up about wins until we start seeing
no doubt.
9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 kind of stuff. Let's get a little bit. We've done it to ourselves enough for 2/3 of the season. We're not gonna fall for it this time, guys. So let's put together something big and let's close out this season big, or let's get some of these young guys out here and let's see what next year looks like. Anyways, for the 300-pound. Wait, I got to do all my other stuff. Hold on. Don't forget to check us out. Social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Oh, one word.
Where you can check out our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. Thank you to all of our farm hands. Truly, we love it. We're having a blast. We appreciate every one of you guys. Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube on the Sports Fluent Network. Just type in Texas Rangers with the Boys on YouTube. You will find us there. For the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the Boys. Guess what? We're signing out.